Hey everybody, and welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack Later Still Lake Jackson, and the Taking Care of Kids show. I asked if he had any ideas, and he shot me this little miniature recipe for maybe a side. I'm gonna see if I can make it a whole damn meal. So yeah, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be great. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell, get all the notifications, call to action, all the stupid YouTube stuff. You know how this works. And we also got a link down in the doobly-doo for our merch. And let's just get into the food because you're tired of hearing me talk already. Well, at least watching me talk. I'll be talking over the rest of this. So.
Alright, I told you I'd be back. Alright, move your onion. First thing you're going to need is some potatoes. I got these about the size of my fist. Decent size. Depends on how much you want to make. But 2 potatoes is fine. Medium sized, I think is what those are called. You want a couple of cloves of garlic or some inch stuff, which I get because it's easier. You're going to want about 3 tablespoons of butter. Bacon. Here's your big sink for this recipe. But I got the irregular pieces, which, can you see this? Irregular slices, which means this costs $3 instead of $8. So, yeah, look out for that. I also dress my stuff with cheddar, sharp cheddar, because it's the best, and some sour cream, because that just makes it taste good. I'm also going to use a little bit of onion. All this is optional, just remember. And then what are we going to dress it with? Now, I like the seasoned salt and dill, because dill is an amazing flavor, and the seasoned salt is just spicy enough to make it awesome. You can just use salt and pepper. Salt and pepper, A, tastes great, B, looks good, but my tongue is too collapsed to not do that. So, speaking of which, add some hot sauce if you want to. I got this truff stuff because I'm fancy like that, but just regular, any kind of hot sauce will work in this great. First things first, wash your spuds. Always wash your spuds. If not, you might get an infection. So, wash your taters. Now, get you a knife. Shout out to Scott, who gave me this big chopper thing. We'll try to just, yeah. And then you want to cut these into about an inch, half an inch cubes. So I just cut them one way, and then back the other way. Be very careful. Now, if you are nervous watching my fingers with this thing, just let you know you're not the only one. It's my fingers. So I was very nervous about this, but it was very sharp, and the spuds were relatively easy to cut. So just long ways, lengthways. You want, like I said, cubit, little kind of stuff. Like this is the biggest piece here. This is kind of pushing it, but it'll work about an inch by 3/4 of an inch. But it works. We're going to cook those down, and it's going to get right. So get you a pot, put it about half to 3/4 full, and then put it up high. You want to go ahead and get these to boil. All right. So while you're doing that, go ahead and put these potatoes in there, and I did both the potatoes here, but just cutting it down for the sake of length, because the algorithm hates a short video and hates a really long video, so we're trying to do right in the middle. But cut both of those, put them in there. Now, onion, I'm only going to use 1/3 of this, and it's while we're waiting for the potatoes to boil. So I take about 1/3, take that butt end, cut that off, and set the rest of the side, put it in a bag, put it in your fridge. Remember to cut out this little eye here off of this onion. Just grab it by the wide part. Be very careful with your fingers and shave that off. Now, if you didn't pull the skin off, it's an easy way to do this. Like, I'm going to show you. You got this knife. It works really well. Excuse me. So, you get it in here, you see, once you cut it, then all the skin layer just kind of comes off in one big pull. Whoop. And it's so much easier to have to pick and pull at that stupid onion skin trying to get it off of there. So, just discard the onion skin and that, the eye or the butt or whatever you want to call it. Now, just give this just a rough chop here, just cross one way, cross the other. Again, mind your fingers horribly. I'm using the big one because it's comedic to chop stuff in this, but it's very sharp and it really works. So just cut it across. It's going to be rough. You're going to cook it where it caramelizes down, so it doesn't matter if it's too big. Now your bacon, once you set your onion aside, you want to use about half the pack. Like I said, it's regular stuff, but we're going to chop it down anyway. And while you're cutting all this, be sure to get you a spatula. We got our name brand ones here. And make sure to give your potatoes a stir. Make sure it's getting warm in there. Make sure that your stovetop didn't short out or whatever. Now, get you a nice sharp knife, and you're going to start cutting this bacon lengthways across those. Now, if it starts where it's hard to get through, just remember that when you're cutting pork and humans, that pieces of fat will get gummed up along the edge here. Best way to do that is to take it and stick it in hot water. Either that hot water there, and it kind of cooks that fat out of there, and you go right back to cutting up whatever pork or beef or human or whatever. Hypothetically, I have to put that out there. I watch too many murder documentaries not to mention that. So I just cut these down into like decent slices, set them aside. Now get you a good sized skillet. I kind of screwed up here, and I'm going to explain why, but you want to put it about medium high. We're going to cook our bacon first while our potatoes are still waiting to boil. Again, just every now and then, just give them a nudge so they don't sit at the bottom and get burnt or stick to the bottom or whatever. And how you're going to judge those is when you can stick a fork in them and it goes in easily, but not just mush. Okay, so once your skillet's up to heat, go ahead and drop in your bacon. Again, you don't want it to spatter, like you want it to like bubble, kind of boil a little bit in that grease, but you don't want it spattering and spitting at you or whatever. So knock it around. Now cook the bacon to how you like it. I like mine with like the edges a little crispy and then like the rest of it's chewy. I cannot stand crunchy stuff, but if that's what you want, that's fine as long as you're not forcing me to eat it. So keep that cooking. Keep testing your potatoes. It's hard to stab them when they're not supported, so I apologize. So what I intend to do is I'll get me something, get a piece of the tater out, and usually a good size one, because you want to cook all the big ones. The little ones will cook faster. And see if your fork goes in it. If it goes in relatively easy, go ahead and kill the heat and let that sit for a minute, right? Now, bacon, cook it until it's done, however you want. This is looking close to what I like in my bacon. So go ahead, when it's ready, pull it off to the side. Okay, you can leave the grease and stuff in there. We're going to use that to start cooking our stuff. So once you get bacon done, pull it off, set it on a plate. Usually I get a paper towel, but I didn't mind the grease on this one because I'm just going to add it back into some other stuff. Get you a tablespoon of butter and add it in there because the bacon grease is in there, but it's not enough to cook all those potatoes. So it'll get you a slotted spoon. It's nice to actually have a reason to have a slotted spoon. Get all the water out and then just put the potatoes directly into your butter there. Now, as you're cooking, the butter will cook, absorb into the butter and evaporate. So you're going to add some along the way as long as when it starts getting dry in the bottom of the pan. So just add it as you go. As you see here, I added a little bit more. Now, this wasn't quite the size I needed for my skillet. So through the magic of TV, slightly bigger pot or pan. Go ahead and add your onion into this. Fancy plate. Check that out. Yeah. Add that in. Now, here's where you add your garlic. If you chopped up your own garlic cloves or just do whatever, again, you got to let your ancestors and your instincts put that in there. Give it a decent stir, but be careful with this. Be very gentle when you turn it because these potatoes are already boiled, so you're like half a step away from mashing the shit out of them and turn them into smashed potatoes, right? So just give it a nice soft turn. It'll be soft on the edges. You'll see it when it starts to turn brown on the edges when you're cooking. Again, this is where you add the butter if it starts getting too dry, but you want to be very gentle with this because you're trying to leave it in cubes and not just mash it. I mean, you can just add a little bit of milk and mash it and you got mashed potatoes. Now, you always check with your fork, make sure it's always cooked through and that the butter's getting in. You just poke it in there and it's nice and soft but not squishy. And you're good. Now, when it starts getting these little brown edges on the side, that's when I go ahead and turn it off and move it from heat. And that's what I'm ready to do. So I'm going to show you how to dress these. So just get you a scoop of taters. This is just going to be a meal. I'm not going to put this as a side. So I'm going to use 2 scoops of the taters. That's going to do 4 people. If you do that right, if you got the right size potatoes. Now, always when you got hot potatoes and stuff, you want to put your melty stuff on first. So cheese goes down first. I had to save the cheese for another recipe, so I didn't go as heavy on the cheese as I like to. That's up to every person. Now, again, all this stuff is optional. If you don't like the dressing, don't put it on there. Like, if you don't like cheese, you're from Mars or something, but if you don't like cheese, don't do it. I add a little bit of dill onto my cheese. The what they call the fresh flavor, or that vegetable flavor that comes out of the dill is really brought out in the cheese and the potato, so I like to put it in there on the cheese as well. A little bit of seasoned salt, not a lot because it's salt, for crying out loud. And then hit it with a handful of the bacon bits, man. Like I said, that kind of makes it. Again, if you're not into meats, leave potato out. You can use butter or margarine to cook it instead if you want to leave all the animal stuff out, but that's on you. I use the bacon and then just a big old dollop of sour cream right on top. You hit it with a little salt and pepper. It looks really good in pictures, but that's it. That's all it takes. If I mean, it's Texas. You add hot sauce, you add jalapenos, whatever you want to it. But this turned out amazing. I don't think it would hold up well for a lot of meal prep because the potatoes, the more you heat them, the more they get mushy, and you just end up in a bowl of potato mush with bacon in it, which doesn't sound bad, actually. But this is really great. It was well under our budget. The closest thing was our bacon, but because we got the irregular slices, it cut it down. It's still well under our budget. And served at least 4 people. If you're going to use it as a side, it'll go even further than that. So, again, if you want to put it next to a steak or something, check out some of our other recipes on stuff that'll go next to this. This is a great side. It's a great meal by itself if you're just into potatoes, which I am. So you really should give this one a try.
And there you have it, folks. Like, that's great. It was great for a side if you want something put next to your steak or whatever you can afford, whatever. Look at our round steak recipe if you need a small, cheap steak to do this. Also, like I said, this is a whole meal for me. Like, I'm not going to eat the whole damn pan. This is enough for like 2 or 3 people. This is great. But it's a whole meal. It's great. And it's just like a baked potato, but a fried potato and mashed potatoes all in one. So it's great. If you want to do it differently, you want to see us do it differently, let us know. Put it down in the comments, man. We'll revisit it and do it how you do it. I think it's neat. Shout out to Jack again for giving me the idea. I've never thought of boiling then frying potatoes. Whatever. But you can also let us know on social media. Let us know we're wrong over there. Put us on Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon. You can find us all those at Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. Also, you can find us on Instagram at Live Between. Showing it over there. You can find me on all of those as well as Twitter and... what's the other one? TikTok, yeah, because I'm old and my brain fell out. I forgot about TikTok. But I'm all of those under my name, Osway Nerdy, and I will see y'all next time. I'm going to go eat some more potatoes and bacon. Ooh, this is good, isn't it?